it's Forza Horizon 6 prediction time. I haven't made an FH6 prediction video since 2023, and when I made my last video, I probably got the majority of the things I mentioned in that video completely wrong. So today, I'm gonna try to right those wrongs and correctly predict FH6. He says, knowing full well he's gonna get most of the things he mentions in this video completely wrong. It's honestly just a lot of fun to put some of my thoughts out there into the world and come back in a couple of years to see all of the things I got right and wrong. I'd also love to hear some of your guys' predictions. Feel free to take part in the comment section down below. I'm gonna break this video up into a couple of different sections, from the release date, the location, the cars, cover car, customization, and a fun feature. So feel free to mention your things in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And obviously, everything in this video is just speculation. I'm gonna try to do my best to take things that are out there right now and try to apply some logic to them to try to predict the future, but nothing in this video is confirmed, and that's kind of the whole reason I'm making this video right now. I want to get out there before any of the news comes out, so my predictions can be as wild and outlandish as possible. So let's begin. So let's start it off with the biggest one of all, Forza Horizon 6 release date. My prediction, October 7th, 2025. At the time of recording this video, Forza Horizon 5 updates are definitely winding down. We're currently in the middle of 2 months with no updates for the game, and the next big update is for the PlayStation 5 Horizon Realms. It's pretty clear right now that the vast majority of the Forza Horizon development team has shifted focus onto the next game, and I've got to assume it's going to come out later this year and probably fall into the usual timetable of a September to a November release time. One of the only things that we do know for certain is when FH6 eventually does come out, it will be available for the Xbox Series S and X and the PC. However, at the time of recording this video, PlayStation 5 has been announced for FH5. And that's led to a lot of discussion amongst the community going, does FH6 launch on the PlayStation 5 at, like, day one? No. At least I don't think so. Here's my thought process, right? If you don't drop Forza Horizon 6 day one on the PlayStation 5, you're essentially giving all of the PlayStation 5 players an incentive to jump into the Xbox ecosystem, whether that be on the PC or on an Xbox console itself. What it also means is that the developers can iron out over the first 6 months of the game's life on the Xbox and the PC. They can iron out all of the bugs, all of the server issues that they've had over the past couple of years. When a new game comes out, the servers usually get overwhelmed and overloaded, and well, they break. Long story short, I wouldn't at all be surprised to see the developers strategically stagger the release date of a PS5 launch. I'm totally expecting it to come to PlayStation 5 at some point, but probably not at day one, maybe like 6 months later or so. But we'll have to see. Anyways, let's move away from the release date and the consoles and into the location. Now, here's the deal. Anytime you're making predictions about a game coming out in the future, there's kind of 2 ways to go about it. Way number 1 is coming up with like safe predictions that follow the natural lineage of the game and the progression that the game is on and all of that stuff. That's usually how I make my predictions, and over the past couple of years, I've been pretty accurate with a lot of my predictions. And then there's method 2, which is essentially putting all of your eggs in one basket. That's what I'm gonna do in this video. So this is gonna either age really poorly and everything's gonna be wrong, or somehow I'm gonna get everything right. Hi, future me, judging myself for making these poor decisions, which will definitely age poorly. I can't believe I'm saying this. Japan. Now, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This isn't just a wild claim out of nowhere, because I've tried to not do that. Over the past couple of Forza Horizons, every time the game is starting to ramp down and focus is shifting to the next game, the developers like to introduce cars from the country of the next game. We saw it with Forza Horizon 4. The last new car that was added into that game was the Mexican Volt. In Forza Horizon 3, when you jumped into the game files, when that game was ramping down, a ton of unreleased cars were found in the game files, like the McLaren Senna, the PLP 50, and the Austin Taxi, leading to the United Kingdom. And I think the developers might be doing the same with Forza Horizon 5 to 6. We've had not 1, but 2 Japanese-inspired car packs. We've got the Nissan Retro Rides car pack coming out in April, which might very well be the final car pack for Forza Horizon 5. Not confirmed just yet. We'll have to find out. And we've also had the JDM Jules car pack, which added in some absolutely amazing Japanese cars. Side note, the other interesting thing that's actually going on behind the scenes over at Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios is that they've actually been secretly rescanning cars, or I should say, not so secretly. It's on their forum. For what feels like the past 10 or 15 years or so, players have noticed that certain car models in Forza games have just not looked that great. And the developers, at least during the FH5 lifecycle, acknowledged the issue. They're not updating the car models for Forza Horizon 5, they're updating them for the next game. And what might those cars be? Well, what if I told you the majority of them are JDM cars and fan favorite JDM cars? Like the Nissan S15, the Toyota A86, Mazda RX-7, and stuff like that. Now, on one hand, yes, the developers could just be updating those cars because they look terrible and they definitely need updating. But on the other hand, could the developers be telling us something without telling us something? Maybe? Anyways, let's move away from the actual research part of this video and following trends and science and stuff like that to just make some willy-nilly guesses, which is where we get in to new cars. Obviously, every time a new Forza Horizon game comes out, the developers on day one drop a whole bunch of new cars that haven't been in previous Forza games. And I'm just gonna list off cars willy-nilly and cross my fingers that some of these cars are in the next Forza Horizon game. So the Acura Integra, the brand new one, Toyota GR Corolla, the Honda Civic Type R, the new one, the Toyota Land Cruiser, the Suzuki Jimny, and the most popular car in Japan, the Honda N-Box. Remember how at the start of this video, I said I was putting all of my eggs in one basket? Think you can see what I mean now? Yeah, this is probably gonna be the most incorrect prediction video I've ever made. I feel like since we're talking about the cars, we should also briefly mention the potential cover cars for Forza Horizon 6. Now, again, there's no real way to figure out what's going on here. Usually, these are sort of like marketing deals where Forza works with like a car company and puts a car on the cover that pays them a lot of money because it's good advertising. Most of the time, though, it's two cars on the cover. You have a hero car, which is like a supercar, hypercar sort of thing, followed up by an off-roader. For the main hero car, supercar, hypercar thing, I'm gonna give it to the Toyota GR GT3 car. Now, I know it's a race car on the cover of Forza Horizon, but let's just ignore that. It is an unbelievable, wild car that looks insane. It is the latest and greatest, and it would look good on a cover, you've got to admit. And then for our off-roader on the cover, I'm going to give it to the Ford Raptor. But Nick, the Ford Raptor's already been on the cover. The Ford Raptor Mustang. We know Forza has an established relationship with Ford. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just saying, it'd be pretty cool. I guess, again, since we're on the topic of the cars and the cover cars and things like that, I guess we should also very briefly talk about the customization of the cars. Forza's always played it very safe in terms of car customization, and I've got to assume that would be probably the same thing for this game, maybe with a very occasional upgrade here and there. For example, if it is in Japan, I wouldn't at all be surprised to see neons get added on to selected cars. Not Ferraris. And I've also got to assume the developers are just going to add more wide bodies, new rear wings into the game, new front splitters, goodbye Forza Aero, hopefully. And you know what? Since I've been on the topic of just getting things wrong for this entire video, it would also be really cool to see the developers update the paint booth and actually let us import logos into Forza Horizon 6. It's not going to happen, but it'd be kind of cool. I wanted to finish this video off with one fun feature that I think the developers are going to be adding in to Forza Horizon 6. Now, it's the same feature I mentioned in 2023, but it just makes too much sense. I think in Forza Horizon 6, you're going to be able to get out of your car and walk around, at least in key locations. The developers have obviously made this big focus on character customization. We are even seeing branded clothing brought into Forza Horizon 5 at the moment with the Jordan Luca collab and all of that stuff. And I think that could be a test for Forza Horizon 6. Not to mention, not only do you have these super high detailed characters, but every single time you go on to the Playground Games website and jump into the jobs section, they are always hiring for more character artists. At the time of recording this video, there's like a lead character artist and a senior character artist job posting up on their website right now. I think it actually makes even more sense when you think about Forza Horizon and Playground Games working on Fable. Obviously, the two dev teams are separate and everything like that, but one thing is for certain, they are for sure sharing tech between the Fable and the Forza side. Fable, you walk around a lot. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see walking around in FH6. I think it just makes too much sense, which is why I've been saying this for the past 2-3 years or so. If I'm wrong, oh, it's gonna feel so bad. But it would be so cool, and it makes so much sense. My last prediction I'm gonna make for this video is I've got to assume Event Lab stays pretty much the same. Double prediction, I think we're gonna have an Event Lab island in FH6. Yeah, that's probably wrong as well. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Goodbye now.